In today's class, let us discuss about one of the digital modulation techniques called delta modulation. In short, we call it as they symbolize as delta modulation. Here delta stands for an incremental value or a small value here. So to proceed and discuss about the ins and outs of this delta modulation, let me give a brief introduction to this digital modulation technique. Here the analog to digital conversion is necessary or required in order to make the transmission of signals or data in a digital mode. So the basic modulation technique which can perform this analog to digital modulation conversion, analog to digital conversion, is pulse code modulation. In short, we call it as PCM. Here PCM stands for pulse code modulation. It is basically analog to digital conversion technique. Here, as we know, this PCM will be implemented in 3 steps here. First one is sampling of a continuous signal, which is continuous both in time as well as in amplitude. Once the sampled signal comes, that sampled signal will be quantized. Quantization will be the second stage. Quantization, in short, it is understood as rounding of the values that are sampled from continuous signal. Then these quantized levels are later encoded to get the series of pulses or a pulse train which will be transmitted across the transmission channel. So these are the 3 steps, namely sampling, quantization and encoding, to implement this pulse code modulation. But remember, here in PCM, as each sample is absolutely encoded, remember, each sample is quantized absolutely, that is the total amplitude of this sample will be quantized and then encoded. So because of that, you need more quantization levels, thereby more number of bits, and hence this occupies more channel bandwidth. Not only for transmission, if you want to store this pulse code modulated data or signal, you need more memory. As we already know, there are 2 important resources in the communication. One is the transmission channel bandwidth, another is transmitted power, Please let me know what is the importance of these 2 resources in communication system, where we have a transmitter followed by a channel and eventually you find a receiver. Transmitter sends the signal and it propagates or gets transmitted along the channel, while receiver will picks up the signal and processes it further. So the importance of this channel bandwidth and transmitted power is we must be able to make optimum use of these 2 resources, because when we are in a situation where the transmission channels are band limited, that means the available bandwidth in the channel is limited, then we need to conserve that channel bandwidth. In other words, what is meant by conservation of bandwidth? We have to send as many channels as possible within the given bandwidth of the transmission channel. Either by using multiplexing techniques we can do it, or otherwise by reducing the requirement of data rate for the given signal to be transmitted. We can implement that. Therefore, apart from this multiplexing techniques, basically if you are able to provide a modulated signal with less bandwidth, then we can send such many signals across the given channel bandwidth, so that we can save the channel bandwidth, or we can conserve the channel bandwidth. Similarly, transmitted power must also be conserved here. We cannot use an unlimited transmitter power. So therefore, these two resources must be used wisely and they must be conserved. Then only your communication system will be more and more effective. So in view of these two, especially the first one, that is conservation of channel bandwidth, the PCM is not going to be efficient. The reason is simple, because PCM or pulse code modulated technique will employ the quantization which will be done for each and every sample absolutely, or in other words, the quantization as well as encoding both will be done for absolute amplitude of each and every sample that we get from the continuous signal. Because of that, you need more quantization levels as well as more number of bits. As number of bits n increases, say the small n stands for number of bits utilized by the particular modulation technique. As it rises, then the channel bandwidth will also be, channel bandwidth requirement will be increased, which is disadvantageous here. So to overcome this, we move from PCM, pulse code modulation technique, to differential pulse code modulation. In short, we name it as DPCM. DPCM. It is expanded as differential pulse code modulation. What is the mechanism here to implement this DPCM, and what are the merits of DPCM over PCM? As I said earlier, as we have to conserve the channel bandwidth, so we are moving from PCM to DPCM, where instead of quantizing as well as coding or encoding the absolute amplitude of each sample, we will encode only the difference between successive samples. What do you mean by that? The difference between present sample and the previous sample will only be coded and transmitted across the channel. Only difference, not the absolute amplitude. So that difference, if you could reduce by reducing the step size, then obviously that difference would be very small. And how small it is? It is only incremental value, which we denote by delta. That is only the incremental value are very small here, so that we can encode that using a single bit here, or n bits where n is very small. In the case of DPCM, this difference between the successive samples will only be coded, therefore n bit streams will be generated. But remember that in DPCM, that n value is going to be small enough. The reason is the difference between adjacent samples, when you take the proximity between the adjacent samples to be very small, they are very close enough, then obviously the n value will be very small. So we can reduce the bandwidth requirement drastically from PCM to DPCM. But at the same time, remember, quality of signal will be degraded, signal rate will be improved, and at the same time channel bandwidth requirement will be reduced, and timely delivery of the signal to the receiver can happen. But remember, these things are going to happen at the cost of or at the expense of the uh, signal quality which gets deteriorated, that you should remember. So, on the same lines, to reduce the further requirement of bandwidth, or in other words, to improve the conservation of channel bandwidth further, we move from DPCM to delta modulation, where the n becomes equal to 1. The case of delta modulation, the n, which represents number of bits utilized to implement the quantization as further coding also, will be 1 only. So, once this n value becomes equal to 1, then we call the quantization as 1 bit quantization. So, delta modulation is the simplest form of differential pulse code modulation, where the difference between successive samples will be coded, and that difference is very small and is named as delta, and to encode that difference we require only 1 bit. 2 quantization levels and only 1 bit at a time will be coded here. Remember, the n equal to 1, where n represents number of bits, means binary digits, while the quantizer is called as 1 bit quantizer. It is called as 1 bit quantizer. And how many quantization levels are there? The quantization levels which we represent by L and is equal to 2 here. Then obviously the 2 power 1 equal to 2, where that 1 is nothing but number of bits n. So, as we are using the number of bits to encode this output of 1 bit quantizer, drastically the bandwidth requirements are reduced, as well as we can minimize the error correction and detection techniques also. Not rather than we can avoid, not minimizing, but we can avoid the error detection and correction techniques. The reason is simple, because there are only 2 quantization levels and 1 bit at a time will be encoded. Therefore, there is no necessity of implementing this quantization, the error detection and correction techniques in the delta modulation, and whose superset is going to be adaptive delta modulation, which also does not require the error detection and correction techniques. These are some merits of DM as well as adaptive delta modulation compared to PCM. Now, let us understand the principle of the implementation of the delta modulation by taking a small block diagram and followed by the staircase approximated signal, which will be the output of the delta modulator, how it is going to be generated. Let me draw the delta modulator block diagram, which contains basically a 1 bit quantizer, and the input to the quantizer will be given from a summer. One of the inputs to this summer will be from the input signal to be transmitted, which will be usually in analog form, but we will sample that and generate the sequence of samples represented by x of nts, where n represents number of samples taken per second and ts represents the duration of the sampling or sampling period. Here ts stands for sampling interval or sampling period. Sampling interval or sampling period. Here in this delta modulator, we usually take this x of nts to be the over modulated signal. We have under modulation as well as over modulation. The reason is if it is over modulated signal, then the signal to noise ratio can be improved considerably. Signal to noise ratio can be improved considerably because Ts is the sampling interval here and Fs is the sampling frequency. So once you over modulate the given analog signal here, the rate of sampling the signal, that is Fs, is much greater than the frequency of the analog signal. The minimum value should be Nyquist rate here, that is Fs must be at least equal to twice the frequency of the modulating signal or analog signal here, which is the Nyquist rate, but we will maintain that sampling rate to be much higher than the Nyquist rate in order to improve the signal to noise ratio, because once you increase the sampling rate, then Ts will be reduced. As you increase this sampling frequency, Ts will be reduced. What do you mean by the reduction in the Ts here? If it is a continuous signal, so sampling interval is reduced, means you will take the samples, successive samples to be very close to each other. Then what happens? Step size will be reduced. This is the step size here. Step size will be reduced. Then number of quantization levels will be increased. Thereby the quantization error decreases. Therefore signal to noise ratio or SNR can be improved here. That's why this input signal will be taken to be the over modulated signal in the case of delta modulation. Right. The another input to this summer is taken from the output of a delay circuit. It is taken from the output of a delay circuit. Then the inputs to the delay circuit will be two here. They will be summed up first here, and that summer is given one input from the output of the quantizer. This is the quantizer output or output of delta modulator. Output of delta modulator. DM stands for delta modulator. So X of NTS is the input signal, and the output of delay circuit I'll indicate as X tilde of NTS. Then once you feed this output of delay circuit to the summer here, then difference between these two signals. So what are these two signals here? One is the oversampled input signal and another is a delayed input signal. That means previous sample of the input here. And these two things will be compared, or the difference between the two will be generated and is given to the 1-bit quantizer. That difference we indicate as EP of NTS. Then output of this 1-bit quantizer is indicated as EQ of NTS. This EQ of NTS is nothing but output of the digital delta modulator V of NTS. So that EQ of NTS or delta modulator output is given as one of the inputs to the summer here. And another input to the summer is this X tilde of NTS, that is the previous sample is given as another input here. The sum of these two will be taken and that sum is given as input to the delta circuit. Let us indicate it as U of NTS. So understand here, there are basically two blocks here, important blocks. One is 1-bit quantizer, as we use 1-bit quantizer in the case of delta modulation because the relative amplitude will be transmitted after encoding, not the absolute value of the sample in either DPCM or in delta modulation. Hence 1 bit quantizer is employed here. What is another block? That is delay circuit. So the delay circuit is given the input from the summer, which has two inputs in turn. One is the output of the delta modulator, another is the previous sample. Previous sample is given as another input. The sum of these two is taken to be U of NTS. What is this U of NTS? One is EQ of NTS plus, what is another input here? This one, that is X tilde of NTS. So the sum of these two generates U of NTS, which is given as input to the delay circuit, and the output comes as the X tilde of NTS, and difference is picked up as the error signal that will be given to the quantizer to quantize further using this 1 bit quantizer here. So this is a simple implementation of this delta modulator, where the transfer or transmission characteristics of quantizer will be following the signum function here. Will be following signum function. That means the output of the delta modulator, that is V of NTS, is going to depend on the signum function of input signal. What is input signal here? X of NTS. It is function of the X of NTS here. So this is how we generate the delta modulated signal, by sampling the given continuous signal, where over sampling is employed here. Here it is rather than modulated, it is over sampled signal here. It is a over sampled signal. That means sampling rate is much higher. Over sampled signal, and that over sampled signal we represent by X of NTS. Error signal gets generated by taking difference between X of NTS and previous sample, that is X tilde of NTS. Then quantizer takes care of rounding of the difference value to the nearest 1 bit output here, and EQ of NTS we are representing as the output of the quantizer, which itself is the output of the delta modulator, that we feed back here to the delay circuit to continuously generate or regularly generate the delayed signals, and they will be in turn compared with the actual input signal here. Let us now understand this delta modulated signal from the graphs here, or in other words, by taking the input signal, any arbitrary input signal, from which try to generate the delta modulated signal, and understand the different types of errors that occur, or subsequently the drawbacks, of course, that arise from this delta modulation, and also will further ensure there are some solutions to overcome these drawbacks. So first let us take the analog signal here. So I am taking an arbitrary analog signal. Taking this as time axis, and amplitude is taken along this vertical axis. Say continuous signal, and now we will divide this time axis into so many intervals, where each interval is going to be named as TS, that is sampling interval. Each interval is named as sampling interval. And also we divide this amplitude scale into so many segments here, and each segment is going to be called as a step here. This is a step size, in other words. It's going to be a step that is indicated by delta. Step that is indicated by delta. Like this, we make the segments in the amplitude scale as well as in the time scale. Each segment in the amplitude scale is named as step size delta, and each segment in the time scale or along the time scale is named as the sampling interval or sampling duration. So as per the principle of this delta modulation, DM here, as per the principle of generation of delta modulated signal, what we understand here, the given analog signal, whenever its instantaneous amplitude is more than the previous sampled value, then we encode that output of the delta modulator or quantizer output to be equal to 1, logic 1. And when the instantaneous amplitude, that means the amplitude of the given continuous signal at the given instant of time, is less than the previous sample, then we make the output of delta modulator set to be equal to 0. Like that, the output of delta modulator goes to higher level, that is logic 1, when input rises beyond the previous sample amplitude, and it will be output becomes equal to 0 when the instantaneous amplitude comes below the previous sample amplitude. Like that, only the difference between the current sample and previous sample will be encoded and transmitted across the channel in the delta modulation. Let us take a particular instant of time here. So here we take the sample and assume that it is more than the previous sample, hence it is going to be increased to the particular level, and that is maintained up to the next interval of sampling here. Then after this, if you find at this instant of time the signal amplitude is more than the previous sample amplitude, and hence it is further increased, the output of the delta modulator raises by another logic 1 or high level and maintains its amplitude at the same level. So once you come to this instant of time here, again the amplitude of the signal is more than the previous sample amplitude, therefore it further increases. So thereafter it maintains its level here, and still you find analog signal amplitude at this instant of time is more than the previous sample amplitude, therefore it further increases here to this level and maintains its amplitude at the same level for the next sampling duration. Thereafter you can find, after this peak point, the analog signal or continuous signal is going down here, its amplitude is getting reduced. So at this instant of time you find the amplitude of the analog signal to be less than the previous sample amplitude. Therefore, what happens to the output of the delta modulator? The delta modulator output is decreased. That means it is represented by a logic 0 and maintains its output at the same level until the next instant of time comes here, which is this instant of time. There you can find once again amplitude of the analog signal to be less than the previous sample amplitude, therefore further it reduces to that level, and like that it the staircase approximated signal comes here, and once it comes over here and maintains the output here, you find the analog signal amplitude at this instant of time to be more than the previous sample amplitude, therefore it rises and maintains its amplitude here. Like that it goes. So this signal which has been generated here looks like a staircase signal, which is also called as staircase approximation of the given analog signal. So what is the output of the delta modulator? It is named as staircase approximated signal. Staircase approximated signal is the output of the delta modulator. This represents the input here, input that we apply to the delta modulator, and this staircase signal represents the output of the delta modulator. output of the delta modulator. But there must not be any deviation, much deviation between the staircase signal and the continuous signal. That care we must take here. So which comes under, we can discuss under the drawbacks of this delta modulator. Drawbacks of the delta modulator. There are two drawbacks here in this delta modulator. One is called as slope overload distortion. First one is called as slope overload distortion. This occurs when the signal amplitude is rising steeply. That means the rate of increase of input signal is much higher compared to the rate of increments in the staircase signal. In that case, what happens here? Your transmitted signal, or the signal to be transmitted, cannot follow exactly or approximately the given analog signal. So let me explain through the diagram. Well friends, as a drawback of this delta modulation, let us understand how the slope overload distortion occurs in the delta modulation, and also we shall find the remedy for that. Slope overload distortion. Let us take once again the continuous signal here, taking time along the x-axis and amplitude of the signal along the y-axis. Let us divide this amplitude axis into so many segments. So as you know already, this each segment corresponds to the step size delta. Step size delta. Similarly, we divide this time axis into so many segments, and each segment corresponds to here the sampling interval. This is Ts here. And what's the case where this distortion occur here? Whenever the instantaneous amplitude of the signal is rising steeply, or in other words, the amplitude of the input signal or continuous signal is rising steeply compared to the step size here, then we come across this slope overload distortion. So that's why I am take a steep rise in the amplitude of the continuous signal like this. And then according to these step sizes, we will get the staircase approximated signal first. First assume here the signal is at this level, and at this instant of time your continuous signal is more than the previous sample amplitude. Therefore, the signal rises to the output of the delta modulated rises to the next level, or it goes higher, and still you find analog signal to be greater in amplitude compared to the previous signal amplitude. Therefore, the signal of the delta modulator output rises, and at this instant of time you find the signal amplitude is even more than the previous amplitude. So the signal once again rises for the at the delta modulator output. Now at this instant of time you find the signal amplitude is still more than the previous amplitude. Therefore it maintains like this, and thereafter signal starts to decrease and the output will come like this here. So once you observe this portion of this graph here, where I am shading this portion here, here you observe that This is called as the staircase approximated signal, which itself is the output of the delta modulator, while this one is the input signal. There you find much deviation between the input signal and output signal, which we call this distortion to be slope overload distortion. So what should be the remedy for this? Once you increase the step size, then you can overcome this difficulty. While increasing the step size leads to another difficulty or another distortion called granularity. Granularity or granule noise. That means these two are counter distortions here. Decreasing the step size, you have to face the slope overload distortion, while increasing the step size, you have to face the granular noise. But the degree of impact of slope overload distortion is less compared to the degree of impact of granular noise. Hence, we have to take care of this granular noise, thereby keeping this delta value or step size under control. Therefore, we can overcome this granularity or granular noise while facing the slope overload distortion, because the degree of impact of this slope overload distortion is less compared to the impact of this granular noise here. But both of these distortions can be overcome once you modify this delta modulation and result in a adaptive delta modulation technique that we simply indicate by ADM, adaptive delta modulation, which is also named as continuously variable step size modulation. Here continuously the step size will be varying here in order to overcome these two difficulties. For example, if you come across slope overload distortion, this adaptive delta modulation makes the step size to be increased. And once you come across this granular noise here, then step size will be decreased. Like that, continuously step size will be kept varying, and hence both of these difficulties can be overcome in the adaptive delta modulation. So there is one mathematical condition also to overcome this slope overload distortion in the delta modulator. Let me give that also. Let us assume the input signal to be m of t here, and is given by a cos omega t, where a is the maximum amplitude of the signal and omega is frequency called angular frequency measured in radians per second, and t is the instant of time measured in seconds. Then output of the delta modulator, which is a differentiated version of the input signal m of t. That delta modulator output is the signal which is going to be transmitted across the channel. So let us indicate the output of the delta modulator as m dot of t, that is differentiated version of the input signal, and is given by the differentiation of this one is minus a omega into sine omega t. This is the differentiated signal. Then maximum of this output of the delta modulator is indicated as m dot of t modulus max. What is the maximum of this one? It is given by a omega. Once you take modulus here, negative sign goes, and then if you take modulus, the maximum here, you get maximum of a omega sine omega t is given by a omega. This is the maximum value of the output of the demodulator. So the condition to overcome this slope overload distortion is this maximum value, that is a omega, must be less than or equal to delta, that is step size, into sampling frequency fs here. this condition, as long as this condition gets satisfied, you can overcome this slope overload distortion. From this, the maximum amplitude A is must be less than or equal to delta Fs by omega, where Fs is equal to 1 by Ts. So this is one remedy here to overcome this slope overload distortion in the delta modulator. Or if you are suffering from granular noise also, then what should be the remedy here? You should adopt this ADM or digital modulation technique, adaptive delta modulation technique, where continuously the step size will be changing to overcome the two difficulties. One is slope overload distortion, another is the granular noise here. Well friends, in conclusion, this delta modulation is the simplest version of differential pulse code modulation, where it has the advantages of conserving the bandwidth compared to the pulse code modulation as well as differential pulse code modulation. But this happens at the cost of what is that cost or expense we are making here? It is only the quality of the signal. That means here quality of signal deteriorates. That means quality of signal is not of importance in the delta modulation, while its signal rate will be improved, or in other words, you can ensure the timely delivery of the signal to the receiver. In such application, you can employ this digital modulator. For example, if you take electrocardiogram, what is that electrocardiogram? In short we write as ECG. If you delta modulate this signal of the electrocardiogram, then you can store that data within the given small memory space here. Whereas if you employ other modulation techniques here, that output of the particular modulation technique will occupy more memory space here. That means database can be reduced once you delta modulate the electrocardiogram waveform. If it is delta modulated, then output of that delta modulator can be saved in a small memory space, or in other words, the database of the ECG can be conserved. That means channel bandwidth conservation is, on one hand, we can get from the delta modulator, and on the other hand, if you are not making any transmission, when you are saving the information or data here, you can employ this delta modulation so that the conservation of memory space is also possible. These are advantages of delta modulation over. And coming to the principle of operation, we employ basically two blocks in the delta modulator. One is the 1-bit quantizer. Why we employ 1-bit quantizer? Because unlike the PCM, in delta modulation, we only transmit the difference between the successive samples here. And if you make sure that the successive samples are closely spaced, then obviously the difference between current sample and previous sample will be very small enough, which we indicate by delta. That is, it is an incremental value. Therefore, we don't need more number of bits, rather we need less number of bits, and also we make the number of bits n to be equal to 1 in the delta modulator, and hence we use the 1-bit quantizer. What is another important block in the delta modulator? It is going to be the delay circuit. What is the role of this delay circuit here? Delay circuit takes the gives the previous sampled value, and which we compare with the current sample, and error signal is generated that will be given as again the input to the quantizer to get the output of the delta modulator at that instant of time. And with two summers we can easily implement that. Then what should be the output of the delta modulator? The output of delta modulator is approximated to be like this. How do you name this? It is called as staircase approximated signal. What are the drawbacks or demerits here? Already we have seen merits of the delta modulation compared to the PCM. One is bandwidth conservation, another is memory space can also be conserved. But coming to the drawbacks, what are they? First one is the slope overload distortion. When does it arise? The slope overload distortion comes when there are steep rises in the input signal, then the staircase approximated signal deviates from the input signal, which causes slope overload distortion. How can you overcome that? Once you satisfy this condition, that is, maximum amplitude of the input signal is taken to be less than or equal to delta fs by omega, where delta is the step size employed, fs is the sampling frequency and is reciprocal of the sampling interval, omega is called as angular frequency of the input signal. As long as this condition gets satisfied, you can overcome the slope overload distortion. That means obviously you would be increasing the step size. So what happens when step size is increased? The another distortion, though you have overcome this overload distortion, excuse me, the another distortion called granular noise comes into the picture. So to overcome both these distortions, we should employ the superset of this delta modulation called adaptive delta modulation, where continuously the step size will be changing to adjust the staircase approximated signal is being exactly following the original given input signal. Understand? Thank you very much. That's it for today.